So, it continues! Hello there, welcome back to Max's Writing Advice Q&A! I'm holding my coffee cup, which makes the whole choreography a little bit difficult, but hello there, welcome back! If this is your first time tagging along to one of these videos, I'm going to explain to you what is going on. Every week, viewers just like you submit questions and I pick through them with a random number generator. It is the most fair way. If you have a question, leave it in the comments of this video, and it is incredibly likely, or as likely as everyone else's odds, to be picked for the next video. Now, as always, today's video has 3 questions sent by viewers just like you, but before I go on anywhere, allow me to give you the formal disclaimer, as always, and remind you that the following is merely just my advice, my opinion, and what works for me. Don't take it as gospel, instead take it as the ramblings of a silly person who looks a little bit, or rather precisely like this. Don't you talk to me or my son ever again. With that joke out of the way, 3 questions a video, 3 minutes a pop. Let's take it from the top. The first question goes a little bit like this. I am kinda coming to terms with the fact that my creativity has more of a solar panel than a fuel tank. I need stimuli going on in the background for me to make stuff. Music, an image in a new tab that captures the aesthetic that I'm trying to write, etc. Any tips to help stay motivated to write your novel and stay focused on it when it seems that keeping the internet on is essential to your creative process? Wait a minute, William sent this question, right? Yeah. Long-time follower. Thank you for the question, William. If you leave comments in this video and you don't change your avatar like every 2 weeks, I remember you. I most likely remember you, and I think fondly of your nice comments. So thank you for everyone who sends nice comments. I actually really appreciate it. Now, with that sappy nonsense out of the way, I think, first and foremost, William, that you gotta use what works for you. Back when I used to do like text-only answers on Tumblr, I would get lots of angry people yelling at me because they consider that using music in the background while writing was cheating, whatever that means. So I'm gonna tell you right off the bat, you gotta use what works for you. If having a cool image on the side helps you, that's alright. It's not even that strange. For Focuswriter, the program that I use for writing, I make custom themes. It's one of the best features of that program. I've talked about it in the past, lots. But I make custom themes with like different backgrounds, with different images that evoke the feelings that I'm looking for. I remember that recently I was writing a story that may or may not have involved giant robots, and the background that I had was the UI theme of the Evas from Evangelion. I'm a nerd. What did you expect? My son is a trubbish. What else did you expect? But anyhow, you gotta do what works for you. Now, I understand the problem. The double-edged sword that is to have the internet open on a different monitor or another tab. And I have a solution for you, because I completely understand, and I have dealt with this problem myself. Because I understand the lure of just like Command T, open a new tab. Oh, what's Twitter? Oh, someone's laughing at my jokes. I feel good now. But you gotta stop that. There are a couple of really good apps. For PC, the program is called Self-Control. Go look it up. And on Mac, the best version of that is called Focus. These are websites that basically lock your access to certain websites for a length of time. I don't want to say that I have little self-control, but what I do want to say is that these programs have helped me not stop in the middle of writing to check Twitter, whatever that says about me. I recommend you go give these programs a look. You can customize what websites they like disable and for how long they do. Focus, which is a program that I actually purchased because I actually really do enjoy the bundle. You can even schedule like every Tuesday from 5 in the morning to 1 p.m. All these websites are disabled, and like YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Tumblr, and you can disable as many as you want for as long as you want. And programs like those even have settings where like you can make it so even quitting the program, quitting the browser, restarting your computer won't actually give you access to those websites until the time is up. I love that. Is it extreme? Of course it is, but the whole purpose of this is to keep yourself from accessing those websites. So if you haven't already heard about them, I hope that I told you about them. Go look them up. They're actually wonderful applications that give you that extra little bit of, okay, I need the internet open, but I don't wanna maybe be lured into opening YouTube or lured into, opening Facebook or Twitter. I think they will be a nice fix for you. As for the second question of the day, it goes a little bit Like this. I've always written in first person as it comes very natural to me, but unfortunately this new story I'm working on doesn't lend itself to it. Multiple POV, point of view, etc. I've tried to practice writing in close third person, but I tend to get stuck so easily, and I was wondering if you might have any tips for that, coming from a first person writer. Also, to give a little more context, I think the hardest part for me is the inner monologue and thoughts in third person, and less the dialogues and such. Alright, so first off, thank you so much for actually adding that extra little tidbit, because it basically gives me the aim for how to help you. So let's talk about a few of my tips for writing in third-person narration or third-person point of view. The first is just a really quick general tip, the narrator's voice. What really helps me when I focus on third-person narration is to get in that narrator character. Because I know that like third-person omniscient is very like common, and just because you have an omniscient narrator doesn't mean that they can't just be treated like a regular narrator. I am very keen of third-person narrators. I say keen, I do this. I mostly do this. That have characters and bias to themselves. I enjoy that because it feels as though someone is telling you the story. Someone who knows what's going on, or someone who assumed things that were going on, but just getting into character. And sometimes even considering who this narrator is. Maybe it's a character in your story, maybe it's the disembodied voice of someone's ghost, or maybe it's a dark creature in the depths of space, who knows? But thinking about this narrator, thinking how they tell the story, and getting into character when you channel their thoughts and narration style really helps. That's one particular point. A little radical for most people, and I understand that. That's why I have a much more practical tip for you when it comes to writing inner dialogue. Again, thank you for adding that little tidbit, because this actually literally allows me to pinpoint your problem and help you. Less is more with inner dialogue. One of my biggest pet peeves, I guess, when it comes to internal dialogue is when it feels like a comic book, like, thought bubble. Oh no, I must stop the plane or everyone's going to die. No one thinks those things. Like, no one actually thinks those things to themselves. When you use inner dialogue for exposition, that's when it feels really stiff, when it feels really forced. And it feels unreal because nobody actually really thinks like that. My personal tip when it comes to inner dialogue is just to do less. Think of the way you think inside of your head. It's usually just little things like, oh damn, the train, or oh, I'm late. Little tidbits, little tiny things that feel natural because that's how our brains actually work. Nobody, and maybe this is just me, my own personal opinion, probably is. Most certainly, but nobody speaks the entire like paragraphs to themselves. I don't think anybody does that. It feels incredibly unreal. And on that same note, you may be thinking to yourselves, well, Max, if I was using inner dialogue as a way to do exposition or to explain something, and that's not very effective, what should I do with it? Show your character's opinion, show their bias, show how they feel about it. I particularly, to me, one of the cool things about inner dialogue in this sort of situation is that it lets you see into someone's head. It's not always very interesting, but it can sometimes give you that nice little edge of like, you really know what they're thinking, or like, they say something, but they mean something completely different. It gives you that sort of insight of like, it's like seeing someone's hand of cards when they're playing poker. You know what they're holding, you know what they're thinking about, and it lets you have that sort of element of insight. So if I had to summarize my thoughts, consider using, right on time, insight. Something interesting, something that the reader wouldn't have noticed otherwise. Stating the obvious, such as letting the reader know that unless they stop the train, everyone's going to die. It's a little counterproductive because the reader already knows that. And now for the third question of the day. Goes a little bit like this. I've been seeing lately from people on Tumblr stating that if someone wants to offer an opinion on someone's writing, they should ask the author's permission. What do you think of that? That's an interesting situation. I'm thinking about it. If someone wants to express their opinion on someone's writing, they should contact that author first. And I wonder, because I'm looking at both sides of the equation. I'm like the person who wants to share their opinion and the person who is receiving somebody else's opinion. And my reality is this. Do I think you have to ask for the opinion of the author before giving your thoughts on their writing? No. Or at least when it comes to my writing, you're free to share your opinion and your reviews of my writing whenever you want. That's all fine by me. I don't think you have to ask for permission because it's your opinion and you're allowed to speak it. That being said, the person that you're giving opinion to does not actually have to listen to what you have to say, doesn't have to apply it, doesn't even have to pay attention to it. There's a bit of a misconception with opinions, or like the misconception of what free speech is. And it's the idea of like, you have to listen to what I have to say about you, and of course that's ridiculous, that's outrageous. No, I don't have to listen to anything you have to say. But I mean, but still, it's out of the way. I feel like this is like very closely related with the idea of feedback and unwarranted or unwanted or not asked for feedback. And the reality is that, and I know this personally because I've gotten some real not very effective opinions from people on emails, or people being like, these are all the things that are wrong in your book. And I'm like, thank you for putting that in the subject line, because that means I don't have to read the entirety of this. But the reality is this. Opinions are not directly feedback. Everyone's got opinion. Everyone's got dozens of them. The difference between a random person or anyone online reading your work and having an opinion about it that they want to share, and your beta readers, is that your beta readers are people whose opinions you respect and opinions that you look forward to, and people that hopefully generally align with the way that you tell stories, or they understand the way that you tell stories. And I feel like this is like an iffy question because I can only speak for myself, and I feel that, you know, if people wanted to talk about my stuff, they're free to do so. You know, there's plenty of reviews of my books online and stuff like that. You know, positive, negative, that's all fine. I don't have to read them. I don't have to be forced to look at their feedback and consider to applying it, you know, like, feedback is different than opinions, and I think people are free to share their opinions. They can't expect it to be taken like feedback. And I'm not trying to like hold back on the question, or I'm not trying to like dislodge the question or misdirect. But the main issue is like I've gotten comments regarding stuff like this in the past, kind of like. I remember a very passionate viewer who disagreed with me on one point and sent me several angry messages following that because I didn't reply to their first comment. And I'm a busy person. Like you may know on Twitter or see me on Twitter, like I write all the time. I'd rather be writing than, you know, reading someone's angry comment and replying. I don't know, people are weird online. To summarize my thoughts on this, I don't think you need to ask for permission, but don't expect the person to read it. I think that that's a pretty good stand on that. You're free to say whatever you want to say. Don't expect people to listen to it though, or don't feel as though they have to be forced to sit down and listen to what you have to say, because they don't. So, respect each other and be kind to one another. That's what I think. Now, with that being said, that was a strange question to finish up this session, but you know what? That was fun. It's nice to talk about the elements outside of writing every once in a while. A couple of videos back, we did a question on quotations, and that was exciting because it was different. And this question was also different, so thank you to whoever sent that. It was exciting. Now, with that being said though, I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I hope that if anything, I gave you another point of view. If you feel differently or you agree with what I said today, please feel free to let us know in the comments down below. It's entirely likely that several people disagree with me in the last question. And it's completely understandable considering that maybe I'm missing something. It's entirely likely. It's not malice, it's just some good old ignorance. I'm probably missing something, and if I am, let me know. I would love to hear what you have to say. You can leave those in the comments as well as questions for future videos, but for the time being though, I gotta get going. I want to thank you for watching, thank you for spending a little bit of your day with me, and I'll see you on the next one.